Hello there, Lynx here, welcome to more of Katawa Shoujo. Oh, we apparently are back to Rin, I guess. I mean, visiting every single day or something, maybe? Maybe? I mean, I wouldn't complain. Life settles into some sort of vague, undefined norm. I visit Rin whenever I can, but each time is as strange as the first. They consist mainly of me watching Rin at work, or just reading a book on the couch while she works. We barely talk at all. I mean, it's not like you were talking a lot to begin with, right? Long, quiet evenings stretch over the last weeks of June. Man, I can't wait for... I mean, I guess for June as well, because maybe hopefully the temperature will get to normal and stops jumping from 20 to 2 and so on. Anyway, I sit on the couch in the atelier, listening to the quiet rustle of Rin's brush and my own heartbeat, trying to make sense of the former and forget about the latter. I'm a silent visitor in this place, a ghost. At some point I start thinking that my presence is meaningful to Rin somehow, but never end up asking her about it. I don't bring up the forbidden topic anymore either, and try to stop thinking about it altogether. It's hard to do so, and doesn't get any easier with the passage of time. My heart aches every time I look at the awkward figure of a girl I decided I liked, yet who refuses to acknowledge it. I mean, I would say Rin has those feelings as well, given that, you know, the kiss situation still. Even though she was, well, on medication back then. I don't know, I guess there is some worry in her about that still. Anyway, I still can't seem to find the right words to talk to her about anything at all, but I find quiet solace in observing her from nearby. The distance between us doesn't feel that huge when I can be closer to her, even if it's like this. Also, I just remembered I rendered 5 freaking videos over the night, and I did not check if they rendered properly, and also I did not afterwards get rid of the old files that I, used to render. So I mean, I will not run out of space, but still, it's not a good thing that I forgot to do that first. The distance between us doesn't feel that huge when I keep be close to her, even if it's like this, I guess. But there is still that distance, right? Rin works like a demon. There is barely a moment when she's without a brush between her toes or not walking in circles around her current work in progress, estimating it from every angle and distance. She seems to be completely taken over by her will to work, to change herself into the sort of artist she believes would be worthy of the trust Nomiya and Saya have placed in her. Don't get too swamped by that, really. Piles of sketches, works in progress, tubes of oil paint and brushes slowly begin to grow the small atelier, making it even messier than it was before Rin acquired the right to use it. I offer to help her clean up every now and then, but each time she refuses. It dawns me that, in her mind, the room is not in utter chaos. Rather, her system of keeping track of everything is so elaborate, only Rin herself can make sense out of it. She knows exactly where everything is, from the tiniest brush to the half-empty tube of crimson that's the perfect shade for some picture in progress. Also, again, there is really a lot of monologue panels in this route, right? In the previous routes there wasn't so much of that. I think I would say in Rin's route in general, there is more of that than in every single other route, which is crazy. Which makes me basically become more transparent on the video, because I have to make the text somewhat visible, right? Rin walks from one painting to another, looking at them as if not remembering that she made them. She talks to herself or to the paintings, even when I'm present, always just quietly enough that I can't make out the words. Every day, Rin pours herself onto the canvas for hours on end, squeezing every bit of her ability and even her soul to make good on the promise she made to me, or herself. Black marks appear beneath her eyes, a sure sign that she's skipping sleep in favor of painting. I am somewhat surprised to see her at school a few times. What? She was there? Okay. I never go and say hello, for as I somehow feel it would break the silent magic of the evenings we share at Atelier. Sometimes Saya comes by when I'm there. She gives me a certain kind of look when she shows up. I think she doesn't like that I'm always hanging out up here, but she never says a word about it. She isn't quite as full of praise for Rin's work as Nomiya, but she is visibly impressed nevertheless. However, when she turns her eyes from the wonderful works of art to look up on the little redhead girl that made them, a sudden deep sadness floats on the surface of her expression. I think she's worried that she might, you know, lose any kind of inspiration eventually. And, I don't know, work herself out, right? I'm afraid of that as well. I mean, I feel like there is something in Saya's backstory here actually that, you know, might lead to something not really great. And she might be seeing some other person in Rin basically. And it, you know, she might end up the same way. Something like that. I have a prediction like that, just that, okay? I can't explain it, and she never talks about it. So we should ask. June turns into July. That's right. That's my month. Almost without warning. End of term, exams loom dangerously close, but all I can think of is Rin. I feel like a sleepwalker at school, looking forward only to the next time I get to visit that silent place above Saya's gallery. After Rin refuses my attempts at directly helping with her work, I try to figure out other ways to help her. It finally dawns to me that she isn't eating properly. So I go to that convenience store of ours where the first thing you see is the alcohol, the wall with the alcohol. My course of action decided I stop at the convenience store I just mentioned before going to catch the bus downtown on my next visit to the studio. I really still see a guy mopping a floor on this picture, on this painting. I feel very energetic as I open the door to the atelier and greet Rin. I brought you some fruit, you need vitamins and actual food after all, do you even eat up here? I do eat. If I didn't eat, I couldn't paint. Then why don't you eat a couple of these? I shake the bag full of ripe oranges in my hand, in a ploy to tempt Rin into taking a break. To my surprise, she actually lays her brush down and walks over to me to see what I bought. Her expression doesn't change at all when she looks into the bag. I can't eat oranges, Hisao. It does not work very well with feet. That's alright, I'll do it. Oh, of course, I knew that she told me herself after all. I extract the tiny fruit knife I had with me and select one of the round fruits. After making the initial cut, I begin to peel it with my fingers. The strong scent of cut orange rind immediately fills the air as thousands of tiny droplets of oil burst from the skin. I remove the first section of the hard peel and shoot a glance at Rin. So, how's the war going? I don't know. It's like in the center of some huge mountain of jelly and have to dig my way out. What? Must be stressful. I think it might be. Even for just painting all this, everything feels really, really strange. Don't mind me mingling with webcam now. I wonder if Rin is the kind of person who likes to carefully remove all the white fibrous stuff. Yes! I hate those white stuffs. from oranges before eating them, or the more careless type who just eats them as they come. Maybe neither. I hate those fibrous white stuff. I really do. That's why I mean, I love oranges, but that white stuff just pisses me off. And that's why I don't eat oranges. God damn it. Someone needs to invent oranges without that crap on it, okay? Please, someone do that. It's a request from Lynx. I'm the former type, so I meticulously clean the orange slices one by one while Rin watches the process with mild curiosity. I realize I don't have the faintest idea about her likes or dislikes or any of the other little details that make up the concept of a person for those around them. It's like, in all this time, I haven't learned much about her at all. I feel like this is the line that appears almost every single time. You know, we spend so much time, but I don't know anything. I would say it's nothing to be angry about. You know, as long as you enjoy your time with someone, right? You surely know a lot of details though. Once I've finished lamenting the fact, I realize I've cleaned the entire orange and neatly split it into slices. I hold the slice up, bring it close to Rin so she can pick it up. Here. She takes it directly between her lips and then to her mouth. Hold. Her lower lip briefly brushes against my fingertip. Rin chews the slice carefully, severing it as much as possible. I become fixated on the movements of her jaw, that trickle of juice glistening on her lip, the way her throat moves when she swallows the orange slice. Why? After I realize what I'm doing, I turn away, feeling embarrassed about watching her so intently. It's not the same as it usually is. The orange? Painting. Oh. Well, is anything like that ever the same? It is sometimes, I think. I know what for. I might be starting to paint differently soon if this goes on. Well, wouldn't it just be the change you keep talking about? She thinks about it, blinking her eyes a few times nervously. For a moment, absolutely nothing happens, as if time itself did a double take. We stare at each other in silence, only that faint, tangy scent of orange floating between us and the muffled sounds of trophy in the background. You know, oranges are kinda crazy for, right? I mean, I remember someone having oranges at school and you know, you could sniff those things from completely different end of the school, which is crazy. They have really strong scent. And I mean, I have a strong feeling of scent as well. Anyway, then I pick up another slice and hold it to her. She takes it from me with her mouth just like the first one. I didn't think it would be like this. I don't want to know what the heck is that thing on that painting with the green background for. I really don't want to know. Well, keep on going and see what happens. It's not like you can do anything else. Yeah, it's the only thing I can do. After that, she says nothing more. In the ensuing silence, I feed her in the rest of the orange and one slice at a time. We know. It's not like you freaking push the entire thing. Then I peel another for her, which she eats as well. The third I eat myself, and the rest are left in their plastic bag, which I put on a small desk next to the couch. I mean, you could have taken care of those at least. She stands up and returns to her painting, with a strange look in her eyes that I haven't seen before. Like most of the expressions, it is completely unreadable. Even if I ask, she wouldn't explain what it means. Huh. Interesting. Some days later, I spot Rin and Sai standing together in front of the gallery as I walk down the street toward the gallery. They seem to be talking to each other while Sai has a smoke. Okay. In real life, instant turn off. Good afternoon. I say this even though it's not really afternoon anymore. I came a bit later than usual since I got caught up doing homework. It's going to be dark soon. Hello there. Hello there, Hisao. Came to visit the little kitten again? Rin makes a face at the nickname. I guess she doesn't like it. Ironically, the way she wrinkles her nose like that really does make her look a little like a cat. I mean, I also don't like, not really a nickname, but a certain way in Polish language you can kinda rearrange my name. I don't like it. Anyway. Hello. So turns back to Rin to continue the conversation they were having. So in other words, everything is going well enough? Rin makes a difficult expression and turns her face from me. For some reason. It's difficult. It's like I'm missing something, but I will do it. Work hard and it will be fine. I'm going to have to start work on my part of the preparations. I need to do a sales catalog, invitations, decorations, advertisements, and so on. I need the names for your works, and we also need to think up the general theme for the exhibition. Oh boy. They don't have anything like that. I'm not very good with words, so I don't use them. If I cannot use them, sometimes I have to think this is not a time like that at all. You don't like naming your works? I don't like it. Well, I guess it's hard to come up with a good name for something like this, yeah? Rin shakes her head vehemently. It's not like that. It's like if I paint a clown and call it an octopus, people think about it differently than if I paint a clown and call it the end of the world. Every name is wrong. Nothing ever explains what I feel like when I make a painting. It's not a word thing. The only thing would be to come up with new words for everything, but would it help at all? No, I don't think so. When the paintings would go with just unnamed number 1 and so on, it's a bit inconvenient, but it makes it's so much easier, right? That's no good. Unnamed means that you just didn't come up with a good name, and unnamed is a name like that Greek guy with the sheep and all. Greek guy with a sheep. What? Greek guy? What are you talking about? Greek guy with a sheep. What's that? I don't see. Polyphemus? He was a shepherd and the son of Poseidon. The Odyssey, Polyphemus imprisoned Odysseus. Oh, he was a cyclops. Wait, was he really? And his men in his cave, they gave him wine, and then when he was drunk, they blinded him and... Oh, that guy. Okay. I wonder what was the name in Polish. Because I think it was a little bit of a different variation. Let's see. Polyphem. Okay. Now makes sense. Polyphem in Polish. Anyway! She thinks about this for a while, furrowing her brow, and she keeps looking at Rin's serious face. So you're saying your artwork should be complete without labels? Hey, has anyone done that before? I think that's what I'm saying. Saya lets out a dry laugh, the kind old ladies who smoke too much always seem to end up with. Stop smoking! Let's hope your art will never end up in a museum. The curators would explode. That's what it's about. She takes a contemplative puff on her cigarette, which has worn down not much more than the butt. Then she drops it into an ashtray affixed to the wall next to the door. But at least she does that. Then again, it could work. I complain about people... not really people smoking, but I like the scent of cigarettes, and that's annoying. I don't smoke though. Luckily now. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't see a reason.
Then again, it could work.
What do you mean?
This namelessness, this rejection of labels, it works. It's a good unifying theme and something people can grasp onto easily. Allows for a lot of room for interpretation. It gives a good impression. Think about it. All sorts of associations can be made, starting from identity and self-definition, all the way to whatever you want to think about it.
I mean, yeah.
We could call your expression Nameless and build it on that theme. How does that sound?
Rin thinks about this for a while. I'm not sure how Sae managed to get so fired up by Rin's reluctance to apply names to her works. It feels like she might be extrapolating too much, but it's a pretty impressive sounding idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
For what it's worth, I have to say it sounds pretty good to me too. Sae reaches into her pocket for another cigarette. Stop! Lighting it with a neon green butane lighter. Her forehead wrinkles and she rubs it as she appears to firstly think more on this idea. She doesn't say a word for a little bit, but every now and then she takes a sharp drag from the cigarette.
Yeah, I think this would work pretty nicely. I'm going to take this as the starting point and work from there. I'm going to work on this. You go back upstairs and try to find your missing ingredient. I'm sure to come to you sooner or later.
Rin doesn't reply, so Sae takes one last long puff from her cigarette and drops it in the tray to join with others of its kind. By the way, I also have never actually smoked, like never even tried. Crazy, right? I know. Then again, I was spending some time in the surroundings of people smoking. So, again, right, technically, this is worse for your health, right? Oh boy. But yeah, I mean, the scent is not terrible, but I don't want anyone to see anyone smoking. Like, anyone close, really. Anyway. Continue. The gallery owner turns to head back inside, but stopped by Ren just as she reaches for the door handle.
Sae. What is it, kitten? Can I have some cigarettes?
No! No! She looks at Rin incredulously, clearly not having expected such a direct request. Not that I did either. No!
Don't tell your teacher.
No! No! She stuffs the packet in Rin's pocket along with the neon green lighter. No! Rin, don't do this to me! The day is already falling to dusk when we climb up the dark stairs leading up to what is now basically Rin's atelier. As we go inside, Rin doesn't seem to be able to settle down. She keeps pacing around the room like a caged animal, looking through the skylight at the burgundy colored dusk. The last light of the sun's advance across the sky reflects from the clouds floating over town, filling every corner of the atelier with blazing orange light. So, painting is going well? She blinks and relaxes her muscles. I didn't even realize how tense up she was until now.
Not really. I haven't painted in 3 days. I'm going in squares.
Circles.
If you say so. I tried doing things a bit differently, but it doesn't work. And now the old way doesn't work either. I need something more. It's not enough like this.
Rin's response gives me a pause, since as usual I can't exactly understand what she means. Although really, I shouldn't have expected anything else. She either says nothing at all or too much. Trying to comprehend and follow her train of thoughts feels like wading through the jungles of Borneo, equipped with a wooden spoon and a map of Hokkaido. I mean, that would be pretty tough. It's annoying how her thoughts are both laid out in plain sight and hidden from view every time she opens her mouth. What more? You said that to Sae as well. A missing ingredient.
I think I have to destroy myself.
Huh? Okay, That sounds unnecessarily grim. What do you mean? Rin's shoulders slump, and she turns to face me directly.
I have to change. I tried, but it's not enough yet. I have to destroy myself first, I think.
Just to be clear, you're speaking metaphorically, right? Like learning to paint from scratch again or whatever, so to speak. She shrugs her shoulders as if there is no difference.
There is no difference.
So, you are going to start by smoking a cigarette for inspiration.
Maybe. I've never tried this before. Have you?
No, and I don't want to. No, can't say I have. Still, I'm not really sure if firing a smoke is the best starting point. She responds to my words with another nonchalant shrug. I open the cigarette pack and look inside. It's almost full. Smoking is bad for you, but that's the idea here, I guess.
Yeah, I need to do something. I want to paint. I need something more.
So, okay, fine. What's after smoking a cigarette then? How do you intend to destroy yourself? Rain thinks for a split second, averting her eyes like she does when she doesn't want to get distracted.
I don't know yet. I'll decide later.
Is it me or the colors of the background suddenly changed a bit? Like the walls. Rin bends down to pick up the cigarette from the end. She raises her head with one between her lips and turns to me, eyebrows curved into two arcs, challenging me to respond. No, we're not doing that. No! With a sigh of resignation, I pick up the lighter and raise it to meet the cigarette. No! I can feel Rin's warm breath against my quivering hand. The flame flickers to life on the third strike of the flint and I try to aim the dancing fire at the end of the cigarette. She'll be like, an amber-colored glow spreads in the wrapping paper and tobacco as Rin inhales the first smoke. It seems to relax her significantly. To my surprise, she doesn't cough, despite telling me that she's a first-timer. Rin seems to remember that it's hard to blow the smoke out without spitting the cigarette out as well. She quickly sits down on the floor, bringing her foot to her lips like a circus contortionist, and expertly picks the filter between two tooths. I get down on the floor as well, and we both lie down almost simultaneously while Rin blows a steady stream of smoke towards the dim sky beyond the glass of the skylight, looking after it thoughtfully. And then Nomiya enters. Or maybe not. The thin haze of steely blue smoke slithers towards the ceiling in fish-like movements. It billows in the stagnant air of the atelier, twisting and turning around its own immaterial body until it dissipates in thin air.
What's the word for smoke that looks like that?
Huh? There is no word for that?
We should maybe come up with some.
Maybe. Rin takes another quick experimental drag.
It's not very tasty.
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't it obvious?
Feels like inhaling the dust lying on top of a forgotten book about the memories of a dead kingdom.
Rin, you just convinced me to actually, really, continue me not picking smoking ever.
Do you want to try?
My hesitation unintentionally surfaces again, making me freeze in the face of a rather trivial and commonplace challenge. Rin's ability to take everything so coolly is something I'm a bit jealous of. Alright. Not really. Taken from her, I have a drag on it, fighting against the sudden choking feeling in my lungs as they fill with smoke. To my embarrassment, I fail, wheezing and hacking my lungs out. I feel flustered, but maybe I haven't lost too much faith in Rin's eyes. Oh my god. It's less unpleasant the second try, but I still pass the cigarette back to Rin. We're like a pair of budding delinquents in middle school, sticking their first smoke out of sight of their teachers and parents. Well, I suppose it sounds like that's exactly what we are. After a while, the cigarette has shrunk most of the way down to the filter. Rin is still looking quietly out of the skylight. With her looking out there, the silence inside the atelier seems to deepen even more. Are the cogs of creativity turning behind these eyes right now?
Do another one.
I mechanically pick another cigarette, light it and place it on Liz's lips. She takes a few quick puffs and moves it awkwardly around with her lips.
Fuck it.
Not understanding her garbled words, I glance over at Rin. It looks like she's having trouble with a cigarette. Huh? I pick the cigarette from lips and place it on mine, abandoning common sense and good reason while I do so. Also, indirect keys! The first one should have been enough for me, but I take another drag, still coughing a little at the unpleasant sensation of smoke invading my respiratory organs. I remember doing something like this before.
So you have smoked. Doesn't look like it, for.
Nah. Lying on my back and looking in the sky with you.
Oh.
The sky on the other side of the glass is slowly growing darker. It's unreachably high, even if the shimmering smoke seems to make it closer. I return the cigarette back to Rin's mouth. It feels bad somehow. The space between us, less than arm's reach, is still there. It's the distance between us, the immeasurably wide chasm of thoughts and feelings. It separates us with graver certainty than even light years of physical distance could. By saying the right words, there might be a way to make the chasm narrower, even if it's just a little. I tried to cross that gap with one big step, but Rin turned me back. I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to take, like, super tiny steps, right? I know the feeling. I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye. Rin is staring upward through the smoke-filled ceiling and the skylight at the darkening sky above us. It's almost like she's sleeping even if I know she isn't. Her eyes are open as is her mouth. I take a cigarette from Rin before it falls on her cheek. She doesn't react to my touch in any way. So this is where we are now. I wonder if we can ever be closer than this. I take a drag of this cigarette and blow a thin stream of smoke upwards. These indirect kisses are the only thing that connects us right now. The taste of Rin's lips on the filter mixed with the ashen taste of the smoke. Her soft lips against my fingers, I press the cigarette on her mouth, as if she was placing kisses on them. The ash softly falling on the floor between us like snow. As the second cigarette is being finished off, I'm already lighting the third one.
Really? Calm the hell down!
The only thing breaking the stillness of the atelier is the inaudible sound of smoke floating towards the first stars blinking overhead. Light nosy hits me by the fourth or fifth cigarette. Before long, the shape of the waxing moon appears in the skylight, shedding her one light down on us. It will be full moon in a few days. It'd be nice to be able to fly. I flinch after realizing it was my own voice that gave birth to the remark. The bastard tried of the almost inebriating smoke and tiredness.
You can't?
You can?
Sometimes I feel like it. Like I can do anything.
Oh, I wish I felt that too sometimes. I wish I felt that too. I wonder if she hears the bitterness seep into my words. The vicious cycle of unrequited feelings is poisoning me even now. Must be the cigarettes. I try to push the grim thoughts aside. My efforts meet with little success as my mind keeps swirling around what ifs and if onlys. Watching the moon slowly creeping higher, I realize that a long time has passed since I came here. It sombers me somewhat, but also reminds me of the sad status quo we're in now. It's late. I'd better get going back to school. I stand up to leave, but Rin doesn't show any sign of rising up from the floor. She lies inanimate, as for all life had been sapped from her. A little wisp of smoke float about her memories of the cigarettes we shared. I grasped her by her short and thin arm and tried to pull her up. To my surprise, she complies and stands up with some help from me. I noticed how little Rin waves, as if she were made of feathers. Are you going to stay here overnight?
I have to. I haven't painted in 3 days. I have to find out how I can start painting. Maybe the smoke helps.
Just take a break. Huh?
That's no good. I have to do it. If I can't paint anymore, I will be destroyed for real.
Maybe you're just burned out. You've been working pretty hard.
That would be bad. I wonder if this is it for me. I wanted to see how far I can go. Maybe this is it. The end.
You just have artist block, it's not a big deal.
That's the word when you can't paint, right? I've had that before. Never like this, for I pick up a brush and then I want to put it down right away. And then I do. 3 days. It's like I've forgotten how to paint. I didn't think that was possible. Like more impossible than Emmy growing wings and a tail.
You need a break. I mean, I get that you're trying to go deeper inside yourself for your paintings, but it's really not that healthy. It's really not that healthy to stay inside your own head for so long. I glance at the night sky visible through the window. A couple of stars are weakly twinkling above the city. They remind me of something I used to do, once upon a time. It feels so horribly long ago. Come on, let's go outside.
Huh? Where?
Just go for a walk, I'll show you my secret place. I don't know if it works in this town, but we can try. In case you need a break and probably something to eat. Come on. You need to get your thoughts away from this for a while. When they're troubled, most people escape from their unhappy lives into a world of fantasy. I did that before, and still do today, reading books endlessly, immersing myself in their world rather than my own. Recording weird videos. Rin's escape should be the other way around, for out her inner world and into the real. Rin doesn't look happy about this, but I ignore her. At least she's somewhat cooperative, walking after me as we head down the stairs and then down the sidewalk. Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer night, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by shining neon colors and blunt yellow streetlights. The air is easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably lighter than usual. The feeling of daytime in the hot summer has lasted long into the evening and night. I grab Rin by her sleeve like I've seen Emmy do, and to my surprise she obediently follows. The pale streetlights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together. The guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is the one moment where the usual silences that have become a ritual between me and Rin, at last, fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at the street we'd already seen once or twice, sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going, maybe she doesn't get it, maybe she knows I don't have an answer. The silence of the night isn't scary. After all, the lights drive most of it away. Also, it's Japan, so... I mean... During the day it's safe. I assume at night it would be as well, right? The air grows cooler as the moon progresses along its journey in a cloudless sky. Few cars roam the streets at this hour, and even fewer people are on the sidewalk. The apparent lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting of this place. And then we can see Lynx making a run. Evening run, night run. I mean, I do run late, so... I mean, it's more or less 10 PM, so, yeah. There are around the clock shops and cafes, sure, but the atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering. A town that sleeps 8 hours a day. The city I grew up in, bathed in the electric glow of million light bulbs, never slept. What? I have seen it more myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened one of the first times I was home alone. Both my parents had business trips that neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. Wow. Their misplaced trust in me did not go to waste as I proceeded to spend the entire night out walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say what made me stay downtown longer than intended after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I didn't do that ever. I walked long, concentric circles around a landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating. I don't think my city would be fascinating at all, to be honest. At any time of day. So I walked its streets. At every intersection it was possible to choose your direction at random because they all lead nowhere. The aimless wandering made me see things differently. I hope it will do the same for Rin. That's a nice place. We stop to buy some hot coffee and snacks from a vending machine, and then locate a bench where we sit down to eat. There is no time in the night of the town, so we spent an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness of the usually vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it will be getting very early.
So is this it?
Hearing Chris' voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored, rather her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here, yet curious to find out the answer. Yeah, have you ever been out all night? It's like a different world. The remark sends her thinking for a while, looking around as if she was looking for something. The wisps of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp.
It's not a different world. It's the same, just asleep. What do you think this town is dreaming of? Maybe something like car sheep or building sheep, where dreams always about sheep.
I've never seen a sheep-related dream that I can remember.
Two different towns dream of different things?
Probably. How could they not? I answer half joking, half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue her list of rhetorical questions, for instead she leans back a little and looks up at the moon traveling above the town. The cool breeze blowing between the buildings seems to steal the conversation away before it even really begins. It's too bad. It looked like Rin would get out of her blue mood. I wish I could somehow know the right things to say, but I realize I can't do that the way I am now. I have to change too. I'm too far apart from Rin. I haven't really managed to crack her open. She's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything. Equally disinterested in everything from the outset. In truth, she's locked tighter than anyone else I know, even myself. Sometimes she locks herself inside that inner world, shutting everything else out. At the other times, her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that will make them intelligible to the rest of the world. Want comes out in the form of paintings I can't interpret. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I now know it was a bad idea to try to reach for her in the way I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers of my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. I know this is the left one, but whatever. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Every single day. Rin turns her gaze to me, tilting her quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my own rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I can manage to catch her attention just by speaking aloud nowadays.
All the time. At least I think so. That's what painting feels like a lot of the time. Or all the time. I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that I can really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like it's just another shadow of me. Like a mirror that doesn't work right.
Like talking?
Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now it feels like that is going away too. Change really is a scary thing.
I wish I could understand you. She looks at me melancholically, roused by my thoughts materializing as words spoken aloud.
Me too.
Whether she meant she wished for me to understand her to understand me, or her to understand herself, I never ask, nor do I find out. I see her eyes searching for mine, serious and cryptic as they are. I'm not getting any explanation from there.
Don't worry about it.
I will. Small hints of a smile are wavering on her lips. When she's like this, it makes me feel that maybe there is hope for us. Right? There's those little things, it's crazy. We get along so well for being so different. It's just that we never really get along precisely because we are so different. Maybe it was Rin's passionate approach to her own art exhibition, or perhaps my own careless words, but last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least we now seem to be back to normal. Relatively speaking. We stand up from the bench and pick yet another direction in which to go. The wee hours of night slowly pass by as we measure the streets of the town one step at a time. We are finally at ease, not minding the rare, lone passerby, the eerie darkness each other ourselves. Rin's steps seem lighter, like a heavy air around her is letting go a little. It makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for the single remarks that are spoken to the night of the town, and never answered. The details jump to the eye instead of being the usual blur they are during the day. As the sky above the town changes from deep, dark blue to grey, I know that our night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up too and nods at me. It's true, the coming light of morning is creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. It feels surreal. The sun won't come up for a while, but I get the feeling that the end of this night really is here and now. Should we head back? Rin nods again, twice, her hair waving in the breeze that seems to be heralding the coming dawn. Abruptly she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout on which I'd brought her. It seems she really is in a better mood. This too makes me feel happy. Rin's navigation skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves in front of Saya's place. I don't know if this was any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse or maybe restlessness. Restlessness. God damn it, Lynx. Restlessness. It's restlessness. Too many S's. Anyway, back then. Maybe this was a silly idea and didn't really help you at all. She just nods an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now?
I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while.
Oh my god. What?
What? Don't come and see me. Do something else.
Her ultimatum catches me completely off guard. What's that about? You said before that you didn't mind.
I mind now. It's just for a while. I have to do this alone.
I don't like that.
Why?
I don't want it to go like this.
Why?
I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She tilts her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing a little as she thinks.
Then you can touch me.
Huh? What?
You can touch me if you want. You'd feel better, right?
Huh? I don't know.
Try.
Where do you want me to touch you?
No boobs or left ear. Other than that, you can decide.
Fine. I raise my hand hesitantly even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Yeah, my eyes tell me that she's not going to explain. 1,000 thoughts race through my head as I slowly bring my head closer to Rin's face and press her fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. She goes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. I can feel her soft breathing, her muscles releasing tension as my fingertips caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her head against my palm or anything else you'd expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Once I draw my hand, she opens them again. It might be just an illusion created by the tiny mid-morning sunlight playing with my eyes, but it looks like she's holding back a smile. This is a problem with our relationship. Half the time I have no idea what is going on, and the other half I just fail to understand why things are going on like they are. That's relationships for you. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Reed Merrill takes a step towards the door.
See you later.
Then she disappears from my reach, for an undefined period of time. Well, we'll find out what's going to happen next in the next episode, of course. How long will be the break from seeing Rin? Well, and so on. Maybe she'll finish her paintings. Maybe that was enough to trigger her inspiration or something. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.